Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Lexi and today I am doing a winter frosty glow look, and if you're curious to see how I achieved this, keep on watching. So I did already prep my skin with some moisturizer. I do want to go in just with some lip oil just to have my lips getting hydrated while I do the look, and then we'll circle back in. So I am going to be using just Florence by Mills. It's just their tinted lip oil, and I do want to go for a very glowy look. I don't want a full coverage foundation. My inspiration really is just the light glowiness that there is in winter. So I'm kind of thinking of how you see light sparkle off of snow, kind of like the twinkle lights that are still out, and the grayish blue sky is kind of the look and idea that I'm trying to go with. So for the base, I'm going to be using the CoverGirl Simply Ageless Skin Perfector Essence. And this one really is just skincare. I really enjoy this and my skin has been acting right recently. I do, however, want to try blending it with a brush this time. I usually just rub it in between my hands and then kind of pat it in, but I do want to try it this way because I've seen a few people do it this way and I'm curious. So I'm going to do 2 pumps instead of 1 just because I'll be using that brush. I don't know if I should mix it first, or I think I'm just going to mix it in my hand with the brush. I don't really want this look to be full coverage. I really just want to think of like the airiness and light that there is in the winter months. So I do think this is a perfect foundation, but you could use like really any skin tint to do this. I am liking how this is blending with a brush. I usually just use my fingers, and a sponge doesn't really work because it just absorbs all of the liquid. I still have some issues with it, how it acts on my nose area. Like I feel like I'm just kind of picking it up now. I think that'll have to do for the nose. That is really my only issue with this one. I don't know, around my nose and sometimes my chin, it just kind of picks up everything, any little dry patch there is, which is odd because it is pretty moisturizing and it is like skincare. Yeah, I feel like my nose and my chin, it really just latches onto every little dry piece. I also did 2 pumps this time. I usually just do 1, so maybe that's why it's just too much product. And this shade is a little too light for me, but I think with everything else we can make it work. And I love just how skin-like it looks. It doesn't really hide texture, and you can use this as a base for other foundations, but I do love how this looks on its own. So I do want to start with the eye look first, and then I have some ideas what I want to do with the blush and the lips, but I really do want the eyes to be the main focus of this. For concealer, I'm going to go in with the Physicians Formula Buttercream Concealer. This is their light to medium shade, and it's pretty light for me. I do like that it is a serum consistency, and I'm going to kind of just target this redness I have going on. And I'm going to try something a little different today. I usually blend it with a sponge, but I kind of want more coverage, and I feel like whenever I use a sponge, it kind of just soaks up all of the product. So I'm just going to use that foundation brush I was using earlier, just really work it into the skin. Okay, I'm actually getting coverage from this, wow. Before, when I use it with a sponge, it just soaks it all up and I end up having no coverage at all. So I am liking how this looks. Quite impressed and surprised of why I've never done this before. But I do like how that looks. It's very beautiful and very glowy. Very natural. That's what I like about serum concealers. They look very natural on the skin. And I do want the center of the face to really be bright, so I'm gonna also add a bit of an eye brightener. Today I'm using the Fenty Beauty under eye brightener, and this is the shade Melon. It has a very peach undertone, but I think blended out it looks very nice. In this combo, they're both very creamy, so I will set with just a little bit of powder in that area, though I do want to keep most of this look very dewy and just very skin-like. And then just setting with a little bit of the Huda Beauty Cherry Blossoms loose setting powder. I really like this one, especially for the under eyes. Onto the eyes, I want to wait to do the blush and the lips because I really want the eyes to be the focal point of this look, and I want to work with a lot of blues and kind of just very glittery shades, and they're going to be cool toned focus. So I'm not really sure the direction I want to go with for the rest of the look, so I kind of want to wait and see. The palettes that I'm going to be using today, one is the ColourPop Twilight palette. I love this palette. I think it is a perfect rendition of the movie. Just all of these colors, that blue filter of the movie. And I really want to dip into Unconditionally, this very like muted gray with hints of blue, very blue undertones, as well as Irrevocably, this dark blue. But I really do love all of this palette. Second palette I'm using is another Colourpop one, and it's for Love and Justice. This one is just gorgeous. It screams winter to me, and I'm very intrigued and drawn into these two blue shimmers. And I also want to use this one. It's Friends Forever, and it looks very pink toned, but I do see a bit of a blue shimmer in there, and I do think paired with these two blues it will bring out that blue shimmer in there, so I'm very intrigued to see how that's gonna look. To start, I actually want to go in a different direction than you think I would, and I'm gonna use Say It Out Loud, which is this very light muted taupe color, almost brown, and I'm just gonna kind of work that into the crease. And I feel like I came to this realization only recently, but brown looks really well with a lot of colors like blue, green, and purple. And I just feel like this is a great transition shade. We are gonna dip into Irrevocably, kind of an angled blending brush, and because mattes tend to be a bit difficult to blend, first I like to tap off the excess product, and I'm also going to hold my brush kind of far away. Like, if you have it up, you're going to get a very precise point of where your makeup is, and it's going to be really hard to blend it by holding your brush further on the stem. You kind of have like some wiggle room with it, and so it's just going to be easier to tap it on and then eventually slowly blend. Colourpop's mattes tend to be a bit stiffer and harder, not stiffer in the formula because they're actually very loose and dust up when you tap your brush, but I mean stiffer as when you place it on your face. It can be a bit difficult to blend, so you just kind of want to take the right precautions to make that easier when you get there. And I'm just gonna focus this on the outer corner of my eye and just kind of blend. But I really don't reach for blues, and that's kind of been my goal, is to work outside of my comfort zone. I have so much beautiful makeup, different shades, and a lot I don't reach for, and I really want to be comfortable with working out either to why I don't feel comfortable with it. Is it because it's so vibrant that I don't see that as myself, which is fine. I want to understand why. Or is it an issue with the shades, like the undertones? Do they not look great on me? Is there kind of a color contrast that's going on? Or is it that I just haven't worked with it, and so I don't really know if I actually like it, and it's just kind of this perceived idea that I don't like it. And that's kind of how I am with blues. I think they're so beautiful, and whenever I see other people with blue looks, I'm always mesmerized because it's just so pretty. It is such a nice shade, and I think blues can really bring out people's eyes no matter what eye color you have. I think it will work for you. But you can see I'm already having some difficulty with blending these mattes, and that's even with dusting it off and holding it very far away. So you really do want to be careful with these and just work slowly. Now I'm dipping into Unconditionally, that very light muted blue-gray shade, and I'm just going to use this to kind of help blend, and that's one way you can help blend these very intense mattes. Another way I like to blend, if you don't have a color that's similar to what you're using, is you can use translucent powder, and that is just kind of help add a layer and make the shade look more diffused. So I really like how that turned out, and moving forward I'm gonna reach for the Colourpop for Love and Justice palette, and we're gonna start with that dark blue. So I'm kind of thinking working outwards to inwards with the darkest to lightest shades. And I'm going to use that same brush with this one. And this one I'm just going to place right on top of the darkest blue. So if you do change your makeup with the seasons, what's your favorite season to match your makeup to? For me personally, I think probably fall, just because I really have a lot of fun with different warm tone looks. And I feel like there is a scale that you can do, kind of very like a neutral warm look, and then to very intense with like bright reds, oranges, yellows. That used to be kind of the shade range that I was very intimidated by before, and last fall I just had a lot of fun with just exploring and just experimenting with my makeup. So I'm gonna start kind of blending it a little now that I have the intensity that I want. So how has your winter been? It's been very cold where I live, and I mean, I don't mind it. I definitely am not a huge fan of winter. Don't get me wrong, I love how snow looks and the weather. It's very beautiful to just watch snow fall. There's something different about just it's snowing outside and you go inside to warm up with a warm drink, you get a nice blanket and read or watch a movie. As a homebody, I really appreciate that about this season, because I do feel a little guilty in the summer and even fall when I'm not taking advantage of like every single nice day. I feel like the winter season is very forgiving of that. I forgot to mention that dark blue is called Starry Sky, and now I'm going into aqua, this light teal. I'm going to do the same thing but focus more on the middle of the eye and just that tapping motion and trying to get it to blend with the dark blue. I do really enjoy just like the festivities of wintertime and just getting to stay indoors, and there's a lot of fun stuff you can do at home. So I do like that, but I am not a fan of the snow, like driving through it, walking through it. It is so cold where I live. I do feel very fortunate to be able to experience all 4 seasons, and they're not too dramatic here. So I do like that. So I do want to go into that dark blue just a little bit, just to help blend and merge those 2 shades together. You don't want like a very stark line. I'm going to start outward and then move inward just lightly and just keep tapping it. You don't want to do any circular or windshield motions because you don't want to really move the pigment, you just want to blend. And then again, I'm just going to go in with that lighter blue just to do one more blend of the 2 shades and just again just tap tap tap. Okay, now I'm going to use this very like flat brush, and I'm gonna dip into Friends Forever, that kind of pink pearly shimmer shade. And I forgot to grab my NYX glitter glue, but I think this will work, it'll be fine. Pack it on onto my brush, and then I'm gonna go in kind of downwards to really just kind of get the eye shape that I want. Really just focus it here on this inner corner of the eye. And wow, you're really seeing that blue come out. See, I told you, it looks very pink in the pan, but look how blue it looks. I mean, it almost just looks like a lighter version of that middle blue. So I'm really liking that. I want like a very white inner corner highlight. I mean, there is this like very silver shade. This one is actually quite warm toned. It has like that yellow shimmer in it. This one is like a pressed powder, so it's very flaky. I think I'm gonna use that silver right there. It's working a little. It's also kind of like a pressed shade, so it doesn't want to pick up. So for liner, I am thinking 2 different things. For my lower lash, I want to do a white shade, and I should probably use a cream eyeliner, but I don't have a white cream eyeliner. And I have one liquid one that I hate, so might as well get some use out of it. And this is the Urban Decay 24/7 inks, and this shade is Ozone. And these are just, they're too watery. They're not very pigmented either. And like, I mean, that was like 3 or 4 strokes, but it's just, I don't know. I never, like, that looks so washed out. And I haven't used this a whole lot. So I'm just gonna pop this in my lower lid, lower lash line. And then for a wing, I'm going to use the NYX Epic Ink Liner, and I have dark chocolate. It's a brown, but it is pretty dark enough where I feel like it doesn't really make a huge difference. For blush, I kind of have 2 ideas that I'm thinking of going with. I don't know which one I want to do yet. So for one, I have the Rare Beauty Liquid Blush in Happy, and it's kind of just like this very nice cool toned pink, which I think goes well with the cool tone, but it's also just very saturated and sometimes can look a bit peachy on me, which I don't think will go well with the blues. The other option is one of the Nars blushes, and this one is very similar shade, not as saturated, more like cool pink leaning, where this one does look a lot more peach next to it. But this one also has that shimmer in there, which can sometimes look warm toned, but I think if I do this in moderation, I can get it to work. So I think this is the one I want to go with, and I really do want it to keep it on the high points of my face. Personally, I usually go for a very blushy blush look, and I find that this one can easily be too much because of that glitter. I feel like the glitter or shimmer to blush ratio is off with this blush. Want to just have like rosiness to the cheeks as if I just came inside from the cold, but also a little bit of that shimmer because it does kind of add to that inner glow. I get worried with this one because that shimmer looks like a highlighter and it just can easily be too much for me. Just kind of blend out the edges. Okay, I am liking how it looks. Usually I do not like this blush. I don't even know why I chose it, but I am liking how it looks right now. I do like to add a little like on the bridge of the nose. It just, something about it makes it look like you're wearing less makeup. I don't know what it is. I think because it doesn't look like you covered it up and it's right in the center. For lips, I have two different products that I don't know which way I want to go with this. So for one, we have Makeup by Mario, and this is one of their Moisture Glow Plumping Lip Serum, and this is the shade Pink Glow. This one's very beautiful and it really does plump the lips, but it is very balmy as well. And you see the shade in there is the same as packaging. It's not really that shade. It's very sheer, but it is beautiful and it's very shiny and just it's a nice balm. The second one we have is Lawless Forget the Filler, and this is Rosy Outlook. This is one of my favorite plumping glosses. I mean, also gloss in general. Also another very sheer product, but this one really helps with just all the fine lines on your lips. It honestly just gets rid of them and just has a really nice glow as well. I think I kind of want to do both. I think I will layer this one on top of the Makeup by Mario. Just gonna add a little bit. And then I'm going to use a bit of mascara, and this is the Tarte Lights Camera Lashes, and it's just a black mascara. And I'm going to focus more on the outer half of my lashes just to kind of help with that like winged look, and it really helps your lashes look elongated. I feel like with a very cool toned eye look, it is very hard to pair it and find a good blush that works. I feel like most blushes lean very warm toned, and so I feel like we find kind of a happy medium between the two. I love the eyes. They're very bright, but I still think it's very beautiful, and it really does remind me of like a winter snowstorm. I am loving this look so much. And I'm really happy that I kept the base very skin-like and just glowy. I feel like a matte look would still look very beautiful with this. I just really want it to be a nice healthy glow and then just have a lot of sparkle and shine for the rest of the look. Thank you so much for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, I would love if you like and subscribe. That way you can help support me and my channel. Thank you so much, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!